SBA, the Small Business Administration, headed by Administrator Kelly Loeffler. They say the Minnesota AG, the Attorney General, who is Keith Ellison, may be done talking about fraud, but American taxpayers are not. At the SBA, we've already suspended over 500,000 borrowers for suspected pandemic fraud, and we continue to go state by state to hold fraudsters accountable on behalf of every legitimate small business owner who was fleeced. And they reposted this from Fox News, quote, "I'm done talking to you," end quote. Minnesota AG Keith Ellison storms off during an interview after facing questions about his handling of the state's fraud scandal, which he did, what, nothing, really. I mean, allowed a lot to happen, and he just looked that way or looked over that way. Ellison pushed back when asked about allegations tied to billions in taxpayer fraud and VP Vance's threat to refer him to the Justice Department, disputing a widely cited $8 billion figure and arguing it has only been mentioned by those, quote, aligned with the Trump administration, end quote. Well, dude, they've got the receipts. They've got their records. They're actively investigating all of it. So just the fact that he gets all triggered and storms off, it really speaks a lot about, what his real involvement really was.
If you ask the newspapers for a forensic accounting, the number you mentioned is tightly identified with people of a very unique political persuasion aligned with the Trump administration. So I'm done talking to you. Bye-bye.
No, I just wanted you to clear up the number. I'm not quoting. I'm quoting several reports.
I get it. It's wrong though. And if you're a real reporter, you should know that.
I will report that you're saying it's wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I bet it was reported that he said it was wrong. Okay, so President Trump is the president. The DOJ is still the DOJ. All the other departments and everything, it's all basically the same, even though that it's headed up by the Trump administration. Regardless, dude's being investigated one way or another. And the fact that he stormed off, he's probably freaking out. I mean, who knows what's happening behind closed doors? They probably realize that, holy shit, we are involved in some really crazy shit. And I don't know. Maybe that's why he just decided to storm off. Probably didn't want to say too much. Maybe under the advice of his own lawyers, perhaps. FBI Director Kash Patel, if you commit fraud against the American people, this FBI will find you and bring you to justice. The end. And Kash Patel, and he says this is from FBI Rapid Response. Another fraudster caught over $1 billion in fraud to the American people. No more, we got him. Like I said last week, day after day, it's pretty much every day at this point where people are getting arrested who have defrauded the government in tens to hundreds to even billions of dollars. And now we're hitting the $1 billion mark. And these are just a single individual, $1 billion. It's just absolutely crazy that they were able to, because there's no way that this happened over a period of months. He's probably been doing this for 10 years probably.
Most Wanted Fraudster. He's allegedly behind, listen to this, a $1.2 billion Medicare conspiracy. Billion with a B. White House officials praising the anti-fraud task force's role in making this bust.
This is why this task force was so important, because it has focused all of the resources of the federal government on doing this. The Biden administration could have gotten him. They found plenty of time to arrest people playing outside of abortion clinics, but instead they let this guy run away with all of his money outside of the country.
And David Spun is joining us live from Washington with the latest on this. David, DOJ has been busy making these busts.
The department really has, Bill. This capture is part of that administration's approach to highlight fraud. Sure, other Justice Departments in the past have caught fraudsters and did it for decades, but this time the FBI and DOJ put together a most wanted fraudster list with 8 people.
That they did.
2 are already in custody in just 3
we got
weeks.
2 now.
Herbert Kimball joins the list of those captured after he was taken down in the Philippines. According to authorities, he targeted the Medicare system to the tune of $1.2 billion. Investigators say he operated a sophisticated call center operation, and his conspiracy involved orthopedic braces and billing Medicare. He operated in the Philippines, where he was picked up after fleeing the U.S.
Good grief, man. He wasn't just filing paperwork fraudulently. He had a whole fucking call center, for crying out loud. Going on, like I said, probably for years. And I think it also was last week when Kash Patel announced that they arrested the first most wanted fraudster on the list, and they got the second one. And I would imagine that the third and the fourth and the fifth are probably to follow quite soon. And another one from Rapid Response 47. This is from Attorney General Todd Blanche. Quote, we are making getting fraudsters in jail a priority. Just in the past 2 months, we've managed to bring $5 billion back to the coffers of this government that was just stolen by these fraudsters. we're going to keep on doing it.
Let's talk about some of the fraud that's going on across the country. We're talking about, in one case, $1.2 billion. I know you guys have in the Department of Justice an attorney general
million
that strictly focuses on that. Y'all got this person. They were hiding in the Philippines. How did y'all get them back to the country?
Again, it was a good local
well, the U.S. government works with the Philippines.
With the FBI, working with us and working with our international partners and making this a priority. So we are making getting fraudsters in jail a priority. And this guy had pled guilty many years ago in 2019 and then fled. And he's responsible for like over $1 billion of fraud. And so that's one example of the hundreds of examples. And just in the past 2 months, we've managed to bring $5 billion back to the coffers of this government that was just stolen by these fraudsters. So, and that's just a couple months. We're going to keep on doing it. The vice president leading that effort with President Trump, and then the DOJ.
Billion.
It's not just the DOJ. It's HHS. It's the Department of Education. It's the
small business.
The reason why the task force that the vice president is leading has been so effective is because it's an all-of-government approach to going and getting money that has been stolen from the generosity of the American taxpayer.
And many of these people that you're going after, I only got 30 seconds here, are not even legal citizens of this country. That's right. And some of them have become American citizens, and you guys want to denaturalize these people.
Right, and that's what every American should want. To become a citizen of this great country, there's a few things you have to do, one of which is be truthful, and another one is you cannot be committing crimes before you try to become a citizen, and unfortunately we've seen that too much.
Yeah, it's not just the departments that he named off. Even the Department of Transportation, even they're involved in fraud. They're talking about shutting down literally thousands of truck driving schools because they are allegedly issuing fraudulent CDLs. And so that's happening. So I think all hands are on deck. I think every single department is working on weeding out the fraud, the waste, the abuse. Even in the White House, headed by Vice President J.D. Vance, the White House Fraud Task Force, who's quarterbacking the whole thing. And here we go. Speak of the devil. White House task force to eliminate fraud. A $3.7 billion scheme to steal from the American taxpayers exposed, and the fraudster allegedly behind it got caught. Vice President's task force is winning the war on fraud. FBI Director Kash Patel. Ibrahim Khaldoon Hilmi is charged with one of the biggest Medicare scams in history, allegedly orchestrating a massive $3.7 billion with a B scheme to defraud Medicare. He's been on the run since May of 2025, but we got him. Thanks to outstanding work from FBI Miami, the Justice Department, and our partners in Turkey, Hilmi was apprehended overseas, and after a foreign transfer of custody, he is back in the United States to face justice. This is yet another massive win for this FBI's war on fraudsters, with the White House task force led by VP Vance, and a monumental victory for the Trump administration, showing that any criminal actor who steals from the American taxpayer will get caught, no matter where they try to hide. Special thanks to Ambassador Tom Barrack, who continues to be an invaluable partner to us. This case could have not been accomplished without his tireless work. So they got the man in custody all the way from Turkey and flew him in, I would assume, probably over the weekend. And he's going to be here facing justice. Not sure if we're going to get all of it back, or even if we're even going to get most of it back, but I would imagine they're going to recover at least some of it. All right. And he'll probably be on the hook for the rest of it if he ever gets out of prison, which he probably will at some point. And from Tom Emmer, moving on to Ilhan Omar and her husband need to be held accountable for their sketchy financial disclosures. They're clearly lying and trying to game the system. Talk about a couple of fraudsters. Financial fumble. Rep. Ilhan Omar's household finances are under fire again after a fresh disclosure showed her husband's reported income between $200 and $1,000. What the hell are they doing? This is on Fox and Friends, by the way. The jaw-dropping dive follows previous filings that valued his business ventures at up to $30 million before the couple blamed an accounting error. Well, it seems like it'd be extremely easy to get to the bottom of it. I mean, he was a partial owner of some massive vineyard in California, which it was worth a substantial amount of money. Even if he had like 5% of its holdings, which I believe he had a lot more than that. It's certainly going to be priced a hell of a lot more than what was the number that she gave? $75,000 to $95,000 or something like that. It's ridiculous.
One controversy after another for Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar after all of these issues surrounding her reported wealth. And this has all been chronicled in the New York Post. Omar's husband, Tim Minette, once listed his net worth to be up to $30 million in 2024. And that caused a push for an investigation into the business holdings of the couple, but that ended up being a clerical mistake, according to the Congresswoman. Instead, a new filing has listed her assets between $20,000 and $125,000. Big difference.
Oh, now it's $125,000.
Is the most staggering part of this, though, with a reported income between $200 and $1,000. And despite that low income, Minette's company, Roselay Capital,
dad, I guess,
reported income between $100,000 to $1 million. His defunct wine-based company reported around $5,000 in income of last year. The latest filing will no doubt add further scrutiny to Omar, with Republicans continuing to push for an investigation into her private holdings. An RNC spokesman told the New York Post this: voters see right through the corrupt lies of Ilhan Omar. Omar has spent her entire career covering up Democrat-enabled fraud that cost taxpayers billions, so it's no surprise that she would do the same for her husband.
It's just very interesting, like almost at the exact same time that they start opening up these fraud investigations, that all of a sudden they start changing their numbers around. All of a sudden the vineyard is defunct, and I guess he didn't get any money out of that somehow, which I seriously doubt. And I guess they're gonna keep moving on that. I would think that the DOJ is investigating this, or at least somebody is. The ethics committee, perhaps. I know that there's been a lot of people pushing for that to happen. And whether or not if they're actually going through with it, I think that they've got a probe going, I believe. I'm not sure how far that's really going to end up going. And we got this from United States Attorney Bill Lee. California is going broke subsidizing free health care for illegal immigrants. And now the bill is coming due. Dr. Oz and the Trump administration has audited the books and found that California improperly claimed over $1 billion in federal Medicaid funds to cover non-emergency care for illegal immigrants, money that federal law never authorized. So they are going to be on the hook, and they already owe the federal government $20 billion that we just learned last week. And now it looks like it's going to be at least $21 billion, which, of course, I would imagine that they're probably counting in the near future and crossing their fingers, begging and hoping that a Democrat will end up becoming president and likewise taking over the House and the Senate. That way they could bail out California and nobody's held accountable for anything. Anyway, CMS told California that it owes the federal government $2 billion and has already successfully recouped half of it. All right, already recouping it. And from Carl DeMeo, breaking: California Democrats to raise health insurance premiums on citizens by 97% so illegal immigrants can get free health care. I mean, like, why are people in California okay with this? I mean, I don't know why they keep voting for this. This is crazy. California Democrats vote to raise healthcare premiums, some by 97%. Citizens lose $2.5 billion in premium subsidies and will be forced to pay $425 per family health premium tax hikes. Also, California Democrats can get free healthcare to illegal immigrants. And this is on Carl DeMeo's website. California State Assembly Member, District 75. California State Assembly Member Carl DeMeo today blasted Governor Gavin Newsom and legislative Democrats for approving a state budget that will increase health insurance costs on California families already struggling under the state's cost of living crisis. California families are already getting crushed by the cost of living, but California Democrats have voted to increase their already high health care premiums. Also, illegal immigrants can receive free health care coverage, DeMeo said. On June 15th, California Democrats voted down a budget amendment offered by DeMeo and backed unanimously by Assembly Republicans that would have restored premium subsidies for middle-class families. But I thought Democrats are all about lowering our healthcare costs, lowering our food costs, lowering all of our costs. Evidently, they're not, at least not in California. But let's be real. Democrats across the board, they don't have any interest in that whatsoever. That's why the cost of living is the highest in the country in blue states exclusively. Without these subsidies, some families will see their premiums almost double, with the average premiums under covered California increasing by up to 97%. On top of rejecting DeMeo's proposed premium subsidies, Democrats opposed a massive MCO premium tax that will cost the typical family of $425 a year. DeMeo's amendment would have funded the premium subsidies for California middle-class families by cutting the free health care for illegal immigrants. And there it is. So that's where the money would have been saved for California's middle class. But nope, they got to give free health care to the illegals. California Democrats showed they are willing to increase healthcare costs on struggling middle-class citizens so they can give freebies out to illegal immigrants. DeMeo called Democrats out for their hypocrisy on health insurance costs, noting that they are trying to shift the blame for their excessive healthcare regulations and taxes to Donald Trump. Of course, it's always Donald Trump. When offered a chance to provide a complete backfill for reduced federal health premium subsidies, California Democrats voted the proposal down. So they are now exclusively to blame for any increased premiums costs on families. And let's see, he also slammed Democrats for failing to reform costly regulations and mandates that have increased the cost of providing health care. A recent study by Transparency Foundation showed the average ER visit cost $3,238 in California versus $682 in Maryland. The average ambulance ride costs $2,407 in California versus just $661 in, let's say, North Carolina. See, that's why there's a lot of people who are getting Uber rides to go to the hospital. Apparently, that's been a big breakout issue with regard to ride sharing. A lot of people are opting out of ambulance ride services and going straight to Uber to take them to the hospital. California Democrats have imposed insane regulations and mandates that have made providing healthcare completely unaffordable, and they refuse to consider any reforms to reduce costs. Newsom and legislative Democrats have had a choice: provide relief to struggling California families or continue gifting billions of free healthcare for illegal immigrants. They chose to make citizens pay more, as they will continue on and on. I don't see them changing their tune on that anytime soon. They just keep doubling down and doubling down and doubling down again. Homeland Security deportation flights hit a record high. Under President Trump and Secretary Mullen with DHS, we'll never give up our mission to arrest and remove criminal illegal aliens from our nation. If you're here illegally, leave now. If you don't, you will be found, you will be arrested, and you will be deported. Washington Examiner, is it paywalled? Is it not? I think it might be, but maybe not. Now let's see. Oh, zoom in. So if you're watching this on a phone, maybe you can follow along. Deportation flights carrying illegal immigrants out of the United States surged in May to the highest level seen since President Trump took office. Nearly 300 Immigration and Customs Enforcement deportation flights departed the country last month, more than double the 126 flights during Trump's first full month in office, according to Human Rights First, a Washington-based advocacy organization. The Department of Homeland Security spokesman told Washington Examiner on Wednesday that the government has deported nearly 900,000 illegal immigrants since January 20th of last year. Approximately 3,000 government-chartered removal flights have taken off under Trump. Damn. And you know what? It's an insane amount of money that must cost to run all of those flights, but you got to just look directly at the Democrats and their policies with throwing the border wide open while Biden was in office. The Trump administration's mass deportation operation compromises three components: arrest, detention, and removal. Over the past year and a half, the DHS and ICE have built up infrastructure and resources to arrest more people nationwide and additional detention spaces to hold those people while they are waiting to go before immigration judges, who must approve or deny each removal. DHS officials claim to have arrested more than 400,000 illegal immigrants between mid-April and May 17th, for a total of more than 900,000 arrests since early of 2025. A DHS spokesperson also said that 2.2 million people have self-deported or voluntarily left the country, in addition to the 900,000 who were deported on government planes. So we're up over 3 million now. Where planes were headed, the final step deportation began to ramp up last spring, then slowed amid the surge of ICE personnel to Minnesota, but is picked up again. ICE is not only deporting people on hundreds of flights per month, but it's also sending those planes to nearly every part of the world. Central America was the top destination for deportation flights in every month since Trump took office, making up 40 to 60% of all flights, according to Human Rights First. ICE Flight Monitor, a data-driven initiative that tracks federal immigration enforcement flights. Flights to the interior of Mexico and South America were second and third most popular destinations. Sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, the Caribbean received several dozen flights per month combined. Europe and the Middle East also received planes of deportees every month, nearly every month, followed by infrequent flights to Oceania. And then it gets into more details, and it goes on for a bit, but it will be below. Again, Washington Examiner. I think that's the only article that I have from Washington Examiner, so it should be pretty easy to find.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out The Swamp, Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, with segments dropping on the daily. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.